Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. My name is DZ. We come to you Monday through Friday, 5:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's Around the Blockchain. We talk to your favorite guests about your favorite topic. And today is no exception. We're going to go ahead and start on the top right. Usually he's on the top left. His top right tonight, though, RiceTVx. And make sure you check out everyone's channel, including his. Then on the bottom right, we got Crypto Keeper, and he has a free NFT dropping tonight at midnight. So make sure you check out his Twitter to learn more details. Then on the bottom left, with the shirt straight from the game's t-shirt collection, Crypto Blood, and we finally got his internet working. We're smooth sailing. Then on the top left, you maybe saw him on Frankie Candle's live stream. It is Tom Crown. Now he's came back to where it all started, around the blockchain. But today we're going to be talking about PCE. You know me, and what is it doing to BTC's price, or PRICE? Also, Miami dropping an NFT. What is Suarez thinking? What is Suarez doing? And then some huge news out of Yuga Labs. MeBits, big change to MeBits, one of the OG blue chips in the NFT space. But before we get into all that, let's see what the market is doing. Bitcoin is on a terrible 24 hours. Actually, you know what? Only down 0.5%. Not too bad at all. A slight retracement. Looks like we broke down below 24,000, but still looking good on the weekly. You can see up almost 6%, and then Ethereum up almost 13%, up even more if you take it from this local low about 3-4 days ago. So we're seeing a little bit of maybe just a slowdown. Now, Tom, I want to ask you here. We had the Fed raising rates this week. We had the PCE report. We're going to get more into that. It exceeded estimates, more of a bear signal there. But yet the markets are rallying. What is going on? I mean, are you expecting maybe a heavier pullback soon? What is up with Bitcoin?
Well, I think what we're seeing with the Fed is economies, markets tend to price in events 6 to 12 months in advance. And basically, I think what happened is market got ahead of itself. I was part of this. I'm guilty. I was expecting a more aggressive rate hike, especially off of last month's CPI numbers, and we didn't get it. We got 75 points, so the markets really got to have a breath of relief here for a moment. And I think that's why we're seeing things go up. I think that's why we're seeing crypto bounce a little bit here. The charts maybe would have been looking for that anyway, but we've redefined recession. We're no longer in a recession because we decided to change what a recession is, and I've changed my pronouns to bull run. So that's the breaking news.
All right. And Rice, I kind of want to, let's just jump into this redefining of the word recession. I imagine you have a take on that. 2 quarters of contraction. That's typically been, you go back multiple administrations, multiple decades. Yeah, Wikipedia articles are now changing the definition. We have the spokesperson for the current administration saying, no, it has always been this. Well, there's a little disconnect there. What is the breakdown on the word? Has it always meant 2 quarters, or was it always this shadowy group of people and we always just listen to what they say is a recession or not?
It's interesting. Thanks again for having me back on the show. Definitely the definition that you gave with 2 negative GDPs in a quarter, 2 quarters, is definitely the definition of a recession. It is ironic that the White House put out a press release a week before they were releasing the GDP data. And basically, even with our markets taking off, to me, this is just a market surge to cover up what's going on with the recession and the data that's coming out with the recession. And I actually feel like we're beyond that point, honestly, that we're totally beyond recession. I think we're going to be going into a depressionary situation. But I did a video just a couple days ago about this on Wednesday when the FOMC meeting was going on. And Wikipedia, they do have that definition that you just said, but then they follow it up with something that was just added, which is, and I'm paraphrasing, that some nations don't recognize this definition. It's interesting when a government wants to do that. Now, we've also had the M2 money supply discontinued, which is an indicator for inflation. It also helps them to be able to finagle the numbers that we currently see in our CPI and our inflation data. So it's all about manipulation. It's all about trying to think that the American public in general are stupid and we're foolish, and that we can be in this position to just believe what we're told. which is very unfortunate. I really encourage people to use the critical thinking. Critical thinking in these days and age is one of the most important things that we can utilize and question everything.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately something we should focus more on with public schools for sure. Now, Keeper, we're bringing up the PCE. This is the Core Personal Consumption Price Index, also known as the Core PCE, came in at 0.6% this month, exceeding estimates for 0.5%, much higher, double yesterday's, or I'm sorry, I say last month's May's jump. May was only 0.3. So now we're seeing prices. Simply put, we have the prices escalating. Well, we have Rice, saying definitely a recession, possibly even worse, the big D word there. So what does this mean for Bitcoin? We've always had this narrative that, inflation equals good news for Bitcoin, but how is that going to counteract with the other broader macroeconomic woes? Is this going to drag Bitcoin down, or is the inflation story going to push Bitcoin up?
I guess we're going to have to see. People have talked about for a long time that Bitcoin is this hedge against inflation. And part of the problem that we have right now is kind of what Rice was talking about and alluding to. When we look at what the Fed is doing, they look at a different set of numbers than the public does. If you hear Jerome Powell talk, he talks about PCE. Well, what do you always hear about? You always hear about CPI. So the difference is Consumer Price Index versus the personal consumption expenditures. The personal consumption expenditures that the Fed is using, is the reason that they say that they use it is because it gives them a more well-rounded, longer term approach and look at what is happening with inflation real time. Well, what's the difference? The CPI uses energy. So there's energy in there, which would include gas, right? And then it also uses food, which both are volatile markets. Well, those are markets that the average consumer is utilizing every single day. So what do we feel? We feel CPI. The PCE feels good for the Fed to be able to report to you that it's not as bad as you think. Well, guess what? It really is. And so long term, I believe that Bitcoin is going to be an answer, is going to be an option, because at the end of the day, we can't just continue to print it. We're 21 million, and this is a long game. So many people look short term. We're stretching this out. We're looking long term. I think that Bitcoin, no matter whether we end up whether we go deflationary or inflationary, in the long run, Bitcoin is going to continue to win, going to continue to escalate in price.
Okay, now speaking of escalating in price, Crypto Blood, we're starting to see some of these large moving average breakthrough. We're passing above the 50-day with Bitcoin and with Ethereum, but the 200-day, I don't know if it's people being worried about the broader economic outlook, but we're still pretty far away from that. I have the numbers here. I want to say, yeah, for Bitcoin, the 200 moving average, 34,000. For Ethereum, 2.3 thousand. It's coming down as the price is lower. This 200 is coming closer to our levels. What do you think is more likely, that we're going to have Ethereum and Bitcoin bounce up and more than 50% of that runway or that delta closing is Bitcoin and Ethereum going up? Or is it just going to be so low with some flash crashes that the 200 moving average comes down, where maybe even at these levels we exceed it? What do you expect? Where do you think roughly we'll be crossing the 200-day?
Really quickly, everyone's touching on inflation. I have to agree with Tom. I think that we're just seeing a relief rally here because the markets were looking for a higher interest rate hike, 100 basis points instead of the 75. So that's a reason for us to rally. We saw it in equities, we saw it in stocks. And also, people have to remember and not confuse the different types of inflation. You got demand pull inflation and you have cost push inflation. And this is not a demand pull inflation. Prices aren't rising because we're just, everyone's happy and economic boom and all of that. They printed too much damn money. And so, this is the result of that. I think that you're going to see, good point on that, DZ. I think you're going to see the moving average 200-day catch up to us. So I think it's going to come down further, and at that point we'll maybe touch that 200. But it's a relief rally. It's expected. You should expect it. I've told my audience last week, look, if you see a interest rate hike at 75 or below, it's a super bullish stance for us. 100 basis points or higher, not great for the market. So that's where we are right now.
Okay, love it. All right, let's move forward and talk a little Miami. Not the Will Smith song, but I am a fan. Miami teaming up with some NFT and some art. I would definitely take that white jacket with the red shirt underneath. Don Knox. It's a good Don Knox look. They have a plan. They're going to distribute 5,000 NFTs in collaboration with MasterCard, Time Magazine, and Salesforce. Of course, Time does more than magazines. They want to engage community, drive additional revenue to local businesses and local artists. They're going to be working with 56 local artists to create these 5,000 NFTs. The 56 coming from the fact that it's 56 square miles in Miami here. Anticipated to launch just a few months from now in December, and is going to be on Ethereum following the merge. So it seems like maybe there's a little environmental FUD concern that they're going to be working with. So tentatively after in December, we shall see, of course. But Miami coin, remember that? It's been a while since we've talked about that. Now trading 98% below its peak price there. Now, Crown, you look like you're in Miami with those shades. In fact, the house behind you looks like, many of the Miami houses out there. They're really embracing crypto. I mean, we've seen it with, just the past few Bitcoin Miami conferences. You see it when you're walking around. You see it when you talk to the local waitresses, bartenders, staff. Everyone kind of is a little bit familiar with crypto, at least compared to, most the rest of the country there. With companies like MasterCard, Salesforce, all these big names, is this partnership going to be successful, at least compared to Miami coin? I mean, or is it going to flop like Miami coin? How do you see this playing out? Win or a fail?
I'm in Miami. I wondered that because we all forgot about Miami coin, and I guess it did generate some revenue for the city. I was actually criticizing it when I saw that it was a topic today, and I looked, and I guess it generated $5 million for the city. I'm not really sure necessarily how or where that money went, but will this do better? I don't really know. I think what I can comment on is being in Miami. You're totally correct. Miami has a more crypto just friendly feel, friendly vibe. Having been there now 2-3 times, I think, for conferences. I'm looking forward to the next one. Miami does seem to be kind of a hub, and I think this is more of a step to be towards that being a hub of crypto, more so than necessarily will these NFTs be super successful.
Fun fact, Tom Crown, go back in the past here. We actually met in Miami right outside the airport, randomly, not planned, different planes, just jumped into our Ubers were simultaneous in the same loading zone. So pretty fun fact. Maybe that'll come up in trivia later. All right, Rice, speaking of city coins, obviously that was a failure, 98% down, but is there a place for them in the future possibly? What do you think?
Most definitely. And I wouldn't say that being 98% down is a failure, because the markets themselves are pretty much down. And it is the local currency. So, I mean, it's really only relative to the Miami area. And that was the one thing that I felt disappointment with this story, is that it did not incorporate the Miami coin in some capacity. I'm a big fan of Miami. I've been to Miami 10 times probably over the past 2 years, and it is very crypto friendly, as Tom said. It's a great place. You can spend your Bitcoin using the Lightning Network at several places. You go to most convenience stores, there's a Bitcoin ATM. You see a lot of advertisements from different crypto companies. So it's really cool to kind of see that. And Miami is definitely trying to be that hub for cryptocurrency, kind of taking over the New York stock market, the New York City kind of aspect for the cryptocurrency in Miami. And another thing that's interesting is if they're thinking about doing the launch after the ETH 2.0 merge, that should kind of be in alignment with soon after will be Art Basel, which is a big event. What's that? Oh, never going to happen. Okay. So
it's never going to happen. They're never going to launch. No,
but I mean, one of the best parts about Miami to me is the artists. And I know a lot of these artists that are going to be more than likely a part of this project. And I'm a real big fan of art. I like the idea of blockchain, NFTs, and art being combined. I like Miami being pro crypto. And I think Art Basel has a lot to do with this, because as big of an event as like Bitcoin 21 or 22 has been, Art Basel is a week-long event that's spread out all over Miami that supports the arts in general, that also does incorporate a crypto blockchain element.
All right, I'm
But
glad you brought up
local coins, though, with the inflation going on, I see that it's becoming more of a thing coming out, because I don't feel the inflation is going to get any better.
Good point.
So I see local currencies as being a way to help stimulate the local area, but it won't benefit anybody if you're not in that area. So I wouldn't encourage people to invest in city coins.
Yeah, I
that they
wouldn't
don't live in.
speculate. Yeah, maybe if you live there, use it to pay a parking fine or your water bill. All right,
Yeah.
Keeper, Rice brought up a good point. Art Basel is actually in Miami, and this NFT drop is going to be utilizing 56 artists from the space. Is that going to be the secret sauce to get this to be successful? Can the 56 artists act as a grassroots organization, a street sweeper team to really promote this?
I mean, I think it's going to be successful no matter what. The hip new thing is NFTs. NFTs have been all the rage for the past, 18 months, I guess more towards really like a year. And so anybody that slaps NFT onto something, at least it gets some attention. And I think that some of the big businesses recognize this. The city recognizes this. Hey, just like with Miami Coin, part of the reason that they did that in the first place was because, okay, crypto is this up and coming thing. We can be on the precipice. We can be on the leading edge here, and it's beneficial to the area. Now you can support local artists. There's so many great artists that have been underappreciated, that have not been making money for a long time, and now as we move into this digital age, they can really be recognized for the work that they've been doing. It gets dispersed all over the place. The marketing behind a lot of these NFT projects is absolutely wild, and they dump a lot of money into them. And now you're talking about massive companies like Time are going to be putting money in to make this happen. Absolutely. They're going to be able to pay these artists the way that they should be paid. The artists are going to work their butt off to create the best product that they can anyway, because it's their pride and what they do. And then the city then gets to benefit from bringing all of these tourists from all over the place in to say, hey, look at what we're doing here. Look at what we have to provide. I don't think you could possibly lose from this. I think short of you having some sort of a scandal as part of one of the pieces of art, which that's probably not going to happen. I think it's a win-win-win no matter what, all the way around, for the company, for the city, and for all 56 of the artists for sure.
Well, you say scandal. I think of the Madonna Beeple NFT with the centipedes coming out of body over this. Who knows? Hey, Gloria Estefan. We need some 80s pop stars to. Anyways, moving on here. We love Miami Sound Machine. We love Miami Sound Machine here. All right, Crypto Blood. We were bringing up city coins. I actually had. This is what Suarez said. This is why we launched Miami Coin. This was to sustainably fund projects across the city and to aid underprivileged communities. Most people, Blood, I think we can admit, are in crypto for the speculation. If, full disclosure, you're in Detroit. Detroit has a Detroit coin. What's the reason you would buy Detroit coin, or would you not buy Detroit coin? Is this something you would be interested in, maybe helping out a neighborhood that might need help, or paying a parking ticket, or is that something you would not touch with a 10-foot pole?
Deezy, remember that word I made up a little while ago? What was it called? Chemical. Yes. That's what this is. It's chemical, man. I would never touch a city coin, because what is it going to be for? Like, okay, if the coin is to help directly fund, like schools or aftercare, after school programs or something in the city with these kids, they need it, especially in like Detroit. It's so underfunded, and the funds are so just misused. So if it's something along those lines, yes, of course. But other than that, no, I wouldn't touch it. I think I don't think they're going to have much traction. Ultimately, we need to just go back to what we know, Bitcoin and some of these other coins that are not centralized, no issuer. So if we're going to use a coin that's going to help free a city, let it be Bitcoin or something like it. You know what I mean? Not a coin that they made up. We don't need another coin. How many coins are there? Like, what, 9,000 or something? I don't know. But yeah, I don't see that being of any benefit. It's just a PR stunt. I do want to say I like what Miami is doing, though. I don't want to take credit away from that. I do like what they're doing as far as spurring the blockchain and crypto industry. We need hubs like that across America. And it's great to see Miami being one. We need more cities to jump on board and be very big advocates of cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I'm Team Suarez. But yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I think, putting Bitcoin on your city's balance sheet probably a little bit better than your speculative city coin, at least. But all right, let's move on.
They can't benefit from it if it's Bitcoin, right? If they can issue and print their own coin, that's where, back to the Ponzi scheme situation.
Yep. You know what? Steal 2% of energy from every citizen and then use that to mine. I'm kidding, of course.
Well, an interesting thing,
Mr.
though,
Burns style mayor going to do that.
If you go back and you look through history, if you actually look through history and look in American history, after the after the Civil War time period, there wasn't a central bank, and we actually issued a lot of local currencies via banks and things like that. So if we went back to some of these methods, I get what Blood's saying, but I can see a benefit, especially if we get into a situation of hyperinflation. Then things like that would be great, because it's just us accepting that these things have value, and that's the only reason
Bitcoin
anything in this world has value.
I'm a email Costco and say, will you accept DZ bucks? But all right, let's move on and bring up Me Bits. Me Bits here is in the news. Here's what is going on with that? Billy,
we're talking about royalties.
Okay. All right. Oh, royalties.
You're so smart.
All right, yeah, I hadn't even said the word royalties yet. Okay, all right, here is the Me Bits collection. You can see it. I priced from high to low, so don't get alarmed when you see the amount of ETH that these things cost. But late night move from Yuga Labs. They have upped the royalty fee from nothing to 5%. Previously, there was no royalties collected from their selling of these NFTs, similar to what you see with CryptoPunks. Let's see, it's having a little trouble loading. I want the Polaroid face ones, but Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Mutant Club, 2.5% royalty. Other Deeds is 5%, and now MeBits is also joining them at 5%. Since the acquisition, of course, Larva Labs sold the MeBits and CryptoPunks, basically their entire company, to Yuga Labs, and now Yuga has been working with a legal team to draft new terms and conditions for the holders of CryptoPunks and MeBits, trying to extend IP rights to the holders. Now, I kind of want to ask Tom about whether or not is this good? We have a 5% royalty added. Is this helpful to maybe keep the ecosystem going, get in some capital, now we can build, or is this just how they're paying for next year's Ape Fest?
Man, I'm the wrong person to ask. What are the upsides? What does this benefit the holder is probably what I would ask. And the answer
you could hire devs. You could hire a dev or stuff like that, essentially.
I think that'll probably just translate into selling pressure on the NFTs. This is definitely not my realm of expertise, but I assume you just put a tax on anything. What do you get? It's what you do with the money. Is it used in a are you building with it, or are you putting it in your pocket? And too many of the times it just goes into pockets. So I'm not going to be bullish on the 5% royalty.
Okay. Now, Rice, I kind of want to ask you about the entry point for just regular Joes out here. This is the floor, low to high. You can see it. MeBits are starting around 5 Ethereum. If you look at Mutant Apes, 15, 20 Ethereum. Bored Apes, even more than that. Other Deeds, roughly, I want to say 3 Ethereum. So most average Americans, I would say citizens, everybody is priced out of this. Will a blue chip project ever have the guts to saturate a supply where maybe everybody can join, or does that defeat the purpose? And do you think they want to stay like a luxury brand where the high price is part of the utility?
I would think it defeats the purpose, and I kind of agree with Tom Crown. I'm not really an expert in the area of NFTs in this area. I was thinking more of how it could have benefited the resale market. But if it's just a straight royalty and it's going back to the creator, then that's a completely different scenario. I also thought that too, that this was somewhat competitive, trying to be more competitive with a blockchain like Wax, which allows for things like that to take place. And I wasn't very familiar with any other NFT projects or blockchains that were allowing for that. I could be wrong, of course, but it made me think of what Wax has done. And if it does allow for the reseller to be able to profit off of this, then it allows for a completely different market to extend out. That would allow for more push of sales of NFTs because people can benefit from the sales of those NFTs as well.
Okay, and we can't mention Wax without giving a shout out to Crypto Stash, the OG of Wax NFTs. He didn't get a Bored Ape, but had the opportunity, passed on it because he didn't like ETH. Just saying something for the maxis there.
And shout out to Ken Bozak too, because Ken Bozak is another early NFT guy.
Ken's definitely huge in the wax space for sure.
And he likes to smoke the wax too.
He's a fan of all types of wax, maybe even beard wax. Speaking of beards, Crypto Keeper, let's talk about the floor price and where do we see this moving in the future. We look at MeBits and you can't help but think of metaverses of yesteryear. You know, this launched years ago where this was the norm of what you might see in a metaverse. It's Minecraft style. But now you look at other deeds, it looks just like Fortnite. Will this Minecraft style ever take off? Or as tech evolves, you know, we're going to want more realistic things. What do you see winning out here? The realistic graphics, or is that Minecraft style community, are they just too strong?
So I think that the realistic is going to win out long term. People are asking for the one thing that they're always asking for is give me a AAA blockchain game. Give me a AAA blockchain. People want this to feel as realistic as possible with the metaverse as well. They want it to feel as real as humanly possible. So starting off, you know, as it relates to the actual graphics that we're dealing with, for sure, they're going to push towards, you know, hey, can I get this as far as, you know what I mean, 8K if we can, right? And then beyond from there as technology advances. But the cool thing is, and this is what I really like, the value in some of this old stuff, right? When I look back at, you know, just regular Nintendo or Atari when I was growing up, I'm 38 years old now, right? So I look back and I see some of these old school games and it brings this nostalgia into my life, right? The people that I think the younger kids that are going to be in, you know, we're on the leading edge of NFTs that were young, they're going to look back at these the same way I look back at a Super NES game or a Nintendo game or an Atari game, and it's going to give that nostalgic feeling. So to them, it's going to be worth more money. And then just, you know, long term, same type of idea. That it's like an old baseball card is going to be, as a general rule, worth more than the new one. But yeah, the way that the world is moving is technology, and technology is moving towards realism. So I think that's going to win out. But price wise and long term, I think some of these old school characters are going to be super dope and nostalgic.
Good point. Did not think about nostalgia. That's really good point there. Nostalgia comes from the Greek and actually means pain from an old wound. And I get nostalgia every time I look at my crypto wallet. All right, Rice. Blood. Last question here. It seems like, don't laugh at my pain. Seems like Yuga is becoming more and more corporate every single day. Is this actually what NFT projects should aspire to? Because their success is undeniable.
It is undeniable, for sure. You know, I have my issues with the Bored Ape Yacht Club situation and all that, but you got to get credit where credit is due. And Yuga Labs is they're the blueprint. If you want to roll out a successful NFT release, they're doing it. I didn't even know they had acquired CryptoPunks. Like, that's crazy, bro. So yeah, they are the, JP Morgan of the NFT space right now. And yes, use that blueprint. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you're looking to release an NFT series, you look at how Yuga Labs is doing it. Though you probably need the money to really make it a success. Like,
all right.
But one thing I wanted to know about the 5% part is that is that going back to Yuga Labs?
Yes. Yeah, that is their royalty fee that they collect now off every sale.
I misunderstood it myself. But it's going right back to them. Yeah. So they can get their wallet money, fatter and fatter and fatter.
Hey, more money, more problems. That's what Biggie said. But all right, it looks like we ran out of time. And Crypto Keeper, you are the winner. You know what? Feel free. Leave us with some parting thoughts. But make sure, tell me some details on that Danger Close Alpha. I'm going to try to mint that tonight at midnight.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot, man. So make sure you follow everybody on the panel. We have Danger Close Alpha. It's a free mint tonight. We're going to be minting 2,500 NFTs. We are doing, basically, we're taking the crypto community and combining it together with the prepper community. Most NFTs, you're not able to extract the value without selling it. We are creating value on the front end with it in terms of education, real life application, teaching people what to do in case of a real life emergency, real life events. Look around the world. We've got a lot of problems going on. You owe it to yourself and to your family to be prepared. And that's what we're trying to bring forth, a community of preparedness. And that's what we're doing tonight at midnight. So dangerclosealpha.com. Make sure to jump in there. All of our socials are linked. Jump into the Discord. We're going to give about 2 more hours to get yourself on that white list. So yeah, DZ, jump in there. We'll get you taken care of. So we appreciate you. dangerclosealpha.com.
Steve-O, you're right. Tom was robbed. DZ coin coming soon? No, not coming soon. But if you want to know about coins, make sure you check out Frankie Candles. He's going to be going live in about 15 minutes if you want to know more about trading. And until next time, BitSquad, DZ out.